TV, mag-aral ng maigi to get the lessons easily. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Let's come and learn together, supporting one another. We love, we care, we share. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya.
And we are back,
still here in
Astral Academy Cyber School.
So the first characteristic, Sir Marvin,
Yes.
it focuses on the long term rather than the short term. So in relationship marketing, learners mas nag-focus siya sa long-term goal or relationship rather than short-term relationship. So why
precisely.
man? Because learners, the moment na ang organization or business maka-create og lifelong relationship with the customers or makuha ang trust sa customers, it is somehow an assurance that the business will last in a long term. So kung naay loyal customers or faithful customers ang inyong business, of course, mulambo or muduga jud ni siya kay naa may permanente mapalit sa inyong products. As they say, learners, that customer is the lifeblood of the business. Okay. So let's go to the second characteristic, sir.
Okay, so for the second one is that it focuses on partners and customers rather than on the company's product.
So in relationship marketing, learners mas gitagaan og effort and attention ang customer preferences or customer satisfaction than the product. So ngano man, learners, mas gitagaan siya og bali. Kay of course, since we wanted to gain loyal customers, sir, or faithful customers, so ang mas concern nato kay ang ilahang mga preferences, ilahang gusto na makita sa ato product or gusto na service show. So ang resulta, learners, mura mo gud siya og domino effect, sir. So if we were able to deliver the kind of product and services they wanted, of course they will become faithful or loyal customers. So after this, these faithful customers, of course, will buy our product repetitively or permanente. And eventually, they will become ambassadors sa atong mga product. Kaya of course, ma-convince pud niya sila sa uban to buy the same product on the same store. So, maybe our friends, maybe our colleague or family. So na recommendation, Sir Marvel. So see, by treasuring our faithful customers, learners, we may be able to get new customers. And that is the idea of the second characteristics of relationship of marketing.
Okay,
sir.
precisely, sir. So the third characteristic, learners, is it puts more emphasis on customer retention and growth than on customer acquisition.
So sama pa sa akong gi-explain ka ganina, learners, og sir, nga ang bottom line jud sa relationship marketing kay retention of customer.
Magpabilin.
Or sa Bisaya pa, nagpabilin nga mga customers. Kaya according to study in the business world, retaining customer has a lesser cost,
Yes.
at least 8 times compared to acquiring new
New
ones.
ones.
So let's proceed to the fourth and last characteristic,
Okay,
sir.
so I guess this is the fourth and last, no? So it relies more on listening and learning rather than talking.
So it relies on learning and listening rather than talking. So let's go back to the core of relationship marketing, learners. And that is to create strong connection to the customers, to become loyal customers or faithful customers. And how can we be able to do that, learners? By, of course, listening to their preferences and suggestions.
suggestions.
In that way, we will be able to learn and improve our services or products. So those are the following main characteristics of relationship marketing, learners. Stay tuned for more discussion. Let's have a quick break first.
This is Astral Academy Cyber School.
Alamin ang teknolohiya sa agrikultura at pangkabuhayan upang umunlad ang ating bayan sagana sa likas na yaman. Halika na mag-ipipina, ipipina, ipipina. Halika na, mag-aral na.
Welcome
Welcome
back,
back.
learners. So at this point, sir, let's discuss now the 5 tips on how to build lasting relationship with your customers.
Okay.
So we have number 1, communicate with customers effectively. So it's no secret that communication is one of the most important aspects of any relationship.
Yes.
Especially when it comes to building customer relations. So promoting business and building a genuine and personal connection with your customer is equally important. So best example of this tip is kung ma-observe niyo, learners, di ba, if mo-check mo sa inyong email na ay mga email coming from Pen Shop, Zalora, or any other brands, nagasam dyan na sila og communication if naa sila discounts, new sales, new products, offers, and that's one way of communicating your customer effectively.
Okay.
Now let's go to the second tip, sir.
Okay, so for the second tip, it is to provide excellent customer service and support. So it simply means that when a customer asks for any help sa kung sa klase, offer a friendly and attentive service right away. Maski paliton or dili niya ang product. If ever mo to kag mga shops, no? Nalang ko na-observe ba nga na yung mga uban nga customer support, maldita kayo lang taon.
Almojud, sir.
Nyo, mungutan na tagpila, mingon og kuan man ni, palito nimo. Mungutan na pa kay pila presyo. So, always put into your mind, learners, nga customers remember when they're treated well or poorly. So, if ever bati ang treatment, bati ang pag-handle, so of course, ma-remember, di na makalimtan. So, either way, they usually share it with their family and friends. and this may bring either more or less great sales opportunities for your brand. So if ever gwapo imong paghalubilo, of course gwapo pod ang ilahang recommendation. If ever bati, then
Bati sa put ang
bati pod.
recommendation.
Okay.
So learners, let's go now to the third tip. This is to provide extra for loyal customers. So meaning offer special sales and loyalty discounts to them. And another example is showing value by acknowledging them during holidays, anniversaries, and of course their birthdays. So I personally experienced this, sir, especially kung mga birthday nato, di ba?
Oh,
Dayon mo
Pa-cake. Something like that.
natay loyalty card.
Oh, okay.
So nag-text dyan ang mga Cebuana Lovillier,
Petron.
Petron,
Free gas.
Palawan, M. Lovillier, or GSIS. So
Okay.
this is one way of keeping in touch with your customer and saying that we care.
Okay, so the fourth tip, and the second to the last, no?
Yes, sir?
It is to gather customers' feedback. So knowing what do your clients think of your business is extremely important, as it helps you maintain a customer relationship that is based on values. So this collected data will be analyzed and used for future references for innovation. So napagay na mga customer feedback nga optional lang ang ngalan. Kaya para nga dili mahadlok sila mo musulad sa honest nga feedback lang yun.
And lastly, learners, we have always go to extra mile.
Extra mile.
So meaning always be there for your customers.
Precisely.
Even the greatest products in the world will become useless if customers won't receive service and support when they need it. So try to provide your customers with the most excellent service and support possible, both before and after a person made a purchase. And your customer will reward you with loyalty. So those are the five tips on how to build lasting relationship with your customers, learners. Some more discussion after a short break. This
is Astral Academy Cyber School.
The Department of Education, Division of Tangub City, in partnership with the local government unit of Tangub, presents Ang Tangkub, Transforming Advancement in the New Normal, guiding K-12 learners under broadcast media and instructional program crafted in response to the need of making education possible and accessible to students at the comfort of their homes. It covers the most essential competencies, thematically layered in drama plays which were originally written, directed, and performed by teachers to see to it that education is securely provided. This is Ang Tangkub.
Welcome back! Okay, so once again, good morning future accountants. Last time, sir, we were able to discuss a lot of things, especially about the different accounting standards and principles.
Precisely, Sir Marvel. Learners, indeed, we could really claim that accounting is progressive and has been constantly developing
Each day. Okay, so that is correct, sir. However, I hate to say this, but this might be our last session for this month of Feb-Ibig, since we will venture a new month next week, March na next week.
Yes, sir.
Thus, as a closure for this love month, can you allow me to ask one thing?
Okay, sir, sure. Anything, sir.
Okay, so sa seryoso nga relasyon, how do you perceive love?
Well, sir, and learners, before, I used to believe that love should be unconditional. That's you need to love a person without conditions. But when I grow older, sir, and learners, I realize that love should be a system of give and take. So a relationship is healthier the way since things are in balance.
Okay, grabe, mura jud og naigibasihan, di ba? So, well, anyway, that is true. To maintain the balance of a relationship, there must be a system. And a give and take system is a good one. Same thing with accounting. There is a give and take system in order to balance things. So, for today class, kindly get your SLMs since we will be talking more about keeping things balanced through accounting equation. But first, the question is how to illustrate
accounting equation and then perform operations involving simple cases with the use of accounting equation.
So, our first task this morning is to illustrate the accounting equation. But first, what is an accounting equation, by the way?
So, learners, accounting equation is a formula that represents the relationship between the assets, liabilities, and the owner's equity of a business. The value of a company's asset should always equal to the sum of its liabilities and owner's equity.
So, accounting equation is about representation of the three elements: asset, liabilities, and owner's equity. In fact, it emphasizes balance of these three elements since the value of one element, which is the asset, must be equal to the sum of the two elements, the liabilities and owner's equity. Nga naman na, tungod kay it is believed that every asset acquired by a company or by a business was financed either through debt or utang or the liability or through investment from owners or the so-called owner's equity.
So the accounting equation, learners, has a formula of assets is equal to liabilities plus owner's equity.
Okay, so learners, allow us to digest every element. So for the first one, we have assets. So assets are economic resources owned by the company which are expected to have future gains. Subalig, i-predict siya nga makaginansya ang company with this asset. They are properties and rights of value owned by the company. So sa Bisaya pa, sila ang mga katigayunan, mga kabtangan, or mga gipanag-iyahan sa company. There are also accounts that belong to assets such as cash, land, building, accounts receivable, and many more. So the second element is
liabilities, learners. So the second element is the liabilities. So what is liabilities? These are the debts or obligations or amounts owed to others. So sa Bisaya pa, mga utang sa companies and liabilities is one of the major ways in which a business can acquire funding. So accounts that belong to liabilities are notes payable, learners, accounts payable, and many more to be discussed in the future
sessions. Okay. So the last element is we have the owner's equity. So owner's equity are the total capital the owners or investors have invested in the business. So for startup companies or mga companies nga bago pa nagsugod, need jud sila mangita og investors to give them funding. So this is also one major way for the business to acquire funding. But take note that owner's equity comes from two main sources. The first one is katong investment from investors, and also for those companies nga nakasugod na, earnings or revenue is another way of raising the owner's equity. Kaya nga naman, magkasugod na sila, magka-serve sila og products or services, so mabayaran sila, so magka-earn sila. So it will increase their owner's equity. So now, let's go with the examples para mas masabtan nato ang accounting equation.
So example number 1. So given liabilities of 10,000 pesos and the owner's equity of 50,000 pesos, find the value of the assets.
Okay, so let's be reminded that accounting equation is assets is equal to liabilities plus owner's equity. So bale, ang total assets must be the same with the liabilities and owner's equity. So in this situation, our liabilities is 10,000 pesos and our owner's equity is 50,000 pesos. Sum it up or add them, we have 60,000 pesos. So for that situation, our assets is equal to 60,000 pesos.
So let's proceed to example number 2, learners. We have flash on your screen. So given assets of 100,000 and the owner's equity of 70,000, find the value of liabilities.
Okay, so for this one, let's remind again for the accounting equation or accounting formula, we have assets is equal to liabilities plus owner's equity. So ang given dari is assets nga 100,000 and owner's equity nga 70,000. So ang atong gipangita is ang liabilities or utang pila di ay. So atong i-substitute lang ang asset nga 100,000. Dayon pagkahuman i-substitute po nato ang 70,000 nga owner's equity. So asset minus owner's equity is equal to 30,000 pesos. So if ever atong i-add na owner's equity plus liabilities, 70,000 plus 30,000 is equal to 100,000. The same sa atong asset. So balance silang duha. Okay?
So 100,000 sa asset,
100,000 po sa
atong owner's equity o
liabilities. That's
so
it.
let's proceed to the example number 3. So the situation is company Tibbs own 100,000 in assets but has a debt of 30,000 to creditors. How much would be the total claim of the owners?
Okay, so basically, balik na punta sa ato ang formula. Assets is equal to liabilities plus owner's equity. So si company Tibbs daw kuno na nag-iya og asset amounting to 100,000 pesos. And napo daw siya utang, debt or liability nga 30,000 pesos. Pila man daw kuno ang owner's equity. So in this situation, ato lang i-substitute. For the asset, we have 100,000 is equal to liabilities nga 30,000. So, atong i-transpose dito ang 30,000 sa pika side. So, 100,000 minus 30,000, we have 70,000. So, sa accounting equation, usually mo ginatudlo nila nga pwede rag tinamban sino gadul og style nga if ever given na ang asset, given na pud ang liabilities, basic ra kayo, i-minus nato ang atong liabilities sa atong asset, ang mugawas na is ang owner's equity. So, here we have the owner's equity amounting to 70,000 pesos. So, 100,000 sa pika side, and then 100,000 sa pika side. Balance.
So as you can see, the accounting formula is all about balance, learners. So any activity on the right side is reflected on the left side. And please bear in your mind that every accountable transaction has effect on the accounting equation.
Okay.
So check the table on your screen.
Okay, so I want you to, not just to familiarize, but as future or aspiring accountants soon, you need to memorize the accounts under the assets, the liabilities, and owner's equity. Why? It's because pagka-college ninyo, maura gini yung balik-balikan. Kaning assets nga, cash, inventory, receivables, prepaid expenses, equipment, napay land, napay building, as in pretting daghana. But then, if ever na-memorize natin ninyo tanan, so of course, dali na kayo. And then, for the liabilities pod, natay accounts payable, notes payable, o deferred revenue. So, as long as payable, utang gina siya. Basta payable. Pero as long as receivable, asset gina siya. Nga naman, dawaton pa man ni mo na. Okay? And then, for the owner's equity, we have contributions. If ever mag-contribute ang investor, plus na siya. Pero if ever mag-withdraw siya, minus po na siya. Revenues, bali ang atong mga sales, kung magkabuhat og service or makabaligya og product, natay sales. Interest also, if ever mag-invest ang company sa other nga mga investment nga platforms, na siya interest, so revenue na po na siya. rental income, if ever nag-provide siya og mga rental services, magpaabang siya, so na siya income. Then, service fees. Also, sa mga expenses pod, minus gini siya, always gini siya. Salaries expense, if ever mag-hire ka og tawo, mabayad ka og salaries for that particular month, so minus na siya sa imuhang owner's equity. Then, okay, so for the other accounts, that will be discussed in the next sessions. But for now, let's focus more on these transactions affecting the accounting equation. Let's have more examples, please.
So for you to analyze, for you to fully understand the table, let's have the situation.
Okay.
Flash on your screen, learners.
But for now, let's have a very short break. We will be back. This is
Astral Academy Cyber School.
Tayo na. Buksan ang mga radyo, lina at matuto sa mga aral sa mundo. Tayo na. Tumutok na sa TV, mag-aral ng maigi to get the lessons easily. It's tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. Tayo na. Let's come and let's
And
we are back.
Still here in
Astral Academy Cyber School.
So learners, flash on your screen is an example of equation affecting the accounting equation.
okay. So these are the transactions. The first one, sir.
So the first one is Mr. Pax invested cash of 10,000 pesos.
Okay, so atong i-digest, learners, ha. Si Mr. Pax daw kuno nag-invest og cash amounting to 10,000 pesos. So we know that cash is an asset. So of course, since nag-invest siya og cash, increase ang ato ang asset. Liabilities, mag-increase ba or mag-decrease? Walay effect nga naman kay walay dimension nga nag-utang. Okay? However, for the owner's equity, it will increase nga naman tungod kay nag-invest man si Mr. Pax. So for the left side, which is the assets, nag-increase. Okay? And then for the right side also, nag-increase ang owner's equity. So for you to fully understand, dapat yun ha nga ang asset balance sa
liabilities of
owner's equity. So if ever mag-increase dito sa left side, dapat mag-increase po sa right side. Okay, for the second one.
So the second example, learners, we have Mr. Pax invest equipment amounting to 100,000.
Okay, so this one, si Mr. Pax na po daw kuno, nag-invest siya og equipment amounting to 100,000 pesos. Okay, so we know that equipment is an asset account. So mag-increase ang atong asset. And then we know also that whenever an investor invest money or equipment or other asset, mag-increase po ang ato ang owner's equity. So, ang atong asset, which is in the left side, nag-increase. And then for the right side, which is ang atong owner's equity, nag-increase pod. Walay nahitabo sa liabilities. Nga naman, tungod kay wala man ta nag-mention og utang. Wala pod nag-utang si Mr. Pax. Okay.
So let's proceed now to the third example. So Mr. Pax renders 5,000 services for cash.
Okay. Renders daw kuno. So bali, nagbuhat siya og service. Okay. Nag-serve siya. Pagkahuman, ang amount is 5,000 pesos. Nga, gibayaran po dayon siya og cash. So, cash is an asset account. So, of course, mo increase po datong asset, which is the left side. And for the right side, ang utang mo increase ba? Wala. Nga naman, kay wala man ta nag-mention og utang. And then for the owner's equity, which is ang atong service income, revenue na to ni siya, kay nag-perform ta og service sa isa ka customer, so nag-increase po siya og 5,000 pesos. Okay, learners, please be reminded that you need to input the exact figure ha sa asset. Kay dili pud pwede nga ang asset 5,000 dayon ma-mistake lang dito ka, erroneous kayo nga error. Dayon napasakan nimo ang owner's equity nga instead of 5,000 nahimo nimo siya 6,000 or 8,000. So dili gina siya mabalance bisan pa og nag-increase ang both side. If ever na typo or na error sa pag input sa data, so of course dili na siya mabalance at the end of the day.
So let's proceed now to the fourth example, learners. We have Mr. Pax purchased 1,000 supplies on credit.
Okay, so please be reminded nga if ever mo gamit gani ang situation of credit. Okay? On credit, utang gina siya, ha? Okay. So for this one, ning palit daw ta og supplies out sa utang. Sige. So ang supplies amounted to 1,000 pesos. So asset, which is supplies, nag-increase og 1,000. Ang utang ning increase ba? If your answer is yes, then you are right. Nga naman, tungod kay ang atong gigamit sa pagpalit sa supply, dili cash or dili other asset no, pero utang mismo. Atong giutang sa ang supply. So, technically, mo increase po ang ato ang liabilities. Ang owner's equity mo increase ba, mo decrease? No, wala. Tungod kay wala may investment na mention, wala po'y withdrawal na mention, wala po'y service, wala revenue. Okay? So, the other nga situation, ang asset, which is ang supply, ning increase. And then for the liabilities, for the right side, ning increase po siya, which is ang atong accounts payable. Bayaranan pa nato na siya, kay utang man na.
And now for the last example, learners, let's proceed to the fifth example. We have Mr. Pax purchased 200,000 land paying cash from the business.
Okay, so there are also transactions nga dili gid kaayo makaapekto sa atong accounting equation. Ano man, tanaw nimo ang number 5, ning palit ta og yuta amounting to 200,000 pesos. Okay? Pero ang gigamit is cash. Okay? So bali, technically, ning increase ang ato ang asset nga land amounting to 200,000 pesos. Pero at the same time, ning decrease pod ang ato ang asset nga cash. Kay mo man atong gigamit, walay utang involved, walay other investment pod nga involved, no? So in this case, no change has happened sa atong accounting equation. Kano man, kay within the specific asset account man ang nahitabo, asset to asset man mo na change. So technically, walay change gyud nga nakitabo. So I hope that is very clear to you, learners. Again, this is
learners, so those are the examples of transactions that affects the accounting equations. So for your attendance marker, learners, flash on the screen above. Please copy.
Okay.
So at this point, we would like to express our gratitude and thank you to our ever supportive superintendent, Dr. Agustinus Isepe, to the production team headed by Sir Alden Antonio, to senior high school learners, teachers, and parents. This has been KJ Ponda from Tangub City National High School.
And this has been Marvel Marata from Tangub City National High School.
See you next week, learners. This is
Astral Academy Cyber
School.